Verses 138 and 139 relate to this Vibhavas, which were covered in video 30. So it might be worth reviewing that video before listening to this one. Verse 138. The constructing of appearances created by delusion is the characteristic mark of Paratantra, or dependence knowledge. The giving of names to these appearances, regarding them as real individual existences, is characteristic of the imagination. So we have this phrase, the constructing of appearances. There are appearances going on, or we can at least say there is something going on. But we're told here that it's the constructing of appearances which is created by delusion, is the characteristic mark of this Paratantra, which is conditioned knowledge. It's dependent knowledge. And what's it dependent on? It's dependent on the attention. Once the attention is drawn into these appearances, then we start identifying them. We start identifying individual aspects of these appearances. We give names to them, and we regard them as real individual entities. And we're told in this verse that this is characteristic of the imagination. Professor Suzuki gives a note telling us that the usual word here is parikalpita, but here the word is vikalpita, which stresses the separation from reality as it actually is. So we replace reality as it is with reality as it appears to be. We start thinking of reality in terms of names, objects, abstractions. These are all abstractions. It's characteristic of the imagination, because what happens is the imagined reality becomes real, becomes the conventional reality, becomes the dependent reality, the conditioned reality. Verse 139 tells us, when the constructing of appearances and names which come from the union of conditions and realities no more takes place, we have the characteristic mark of perfected knowledge, and this is parinishpanna. So we let the appearances go by without allowing our attention to get caught up in them, and so we don't get caught up in notions concerning these appearances. We're told that these appearances and names come from the union of conditions and realities. So these are two aspects of consciousness. The first aspect is the attention, and the second aspect is that consciousness makes real whatever the attention is attending to. You see this when you're watching a drama, a play, a television program, listening to music, in a dream. Whatever the attention attends to takes on reality, takes on a sense of reality. Afterwards you might dismiss it. You'll say, well, I was only watching a play, it was only a dream. At some point you might say, well, it was only samsara. But at the time, whatever is attracting the attention, whatever the attention is focused on, takes on a sense of reality. So the condition here is attracting the attention, and the realities are whatever the attention is focused on. So it's this union. And when this no longer takes place, which means that the attention is no longer getting caught up in all this stuff that seems to be going on, when it no more takes place, we have the characteristic mark of perfected knowledge. So what does it mean that the attention is no longer caught up in these appearances? How is this possible? Well, if you're a meditator, you might have some sense of this, because you've got these appearances going on all the time. This is the work of the mind, the restless, bubbling mind. It's also more solidly conveyed by our mood at a particular moment. What's your mood right now? Because this is what your attention is identifying with. A while back in video 70, I spoke of mood harmonics. There's a fundamental tone. This is what we identify with, and from this the attention goes on to identify with other things. But there's this fundamental tone, which is our characteristic disposition, which is our prevailing mood. We need to see beyond this also. We need to see beyond this to the pure nature of the attention itself, which is the pure nature of consciousness. It's an immensely difficult thing to do. Usually our moods are the master. But the spiritual practitioner, when practicing, can no longer go along with this situation. And this is the work that presents itself, going beyond the fundamental tone of your being, going beyond the tone of your fundamental mood. To what? Where does this take us? It takes us to a purer sense of being. And this is expressed in the next few verses in terms of Buddhas everywhere. And we'll look at these in the next video.